Good evening and welcome to Sunset News this Tuesday evening. As always, we bring you news, community stories, economics, weather and sports. I am Diana Master. In the news tonight, a senior United States ambassador of state delegation led by Ambassador John Giordano has visited Deep Yellow's Tumas uranium project in Namibia's Erongo region in a visit that signals growing American interest in Namibia's role in global energy supply chains. The delegation toured the project on Saturday with discussions covering project development, infrastructure, and the broader contribution of uranium to energy security. There is no substitute for seeing major projects firsthand, Ambassador Giordano said. As global demand for reliable energy continues to grow, projects such as Tumas highlight the increasingly important role Namibia can play in global energy supply chains. The ambassador said Namibia's position in global markets was strengthening. Namibia is becoming an increasingly important participant in global energy and industrial supply chains, he said. The visit, conducted under the auspices of the U.S. Department of State's Bureau of African Affairs, reflects broader American engagement with Africa's critical minerals and energy sectors as Washington seeks to diversify global supply chains away from Chinese dominance. Deep Yellow's Tumas project is one of Namibia's most advanced uranium development assets, positioned in the Erongo region, which hosts the bulk of the country's uranium production infrastructure. In our next story, the Namibia Airports Company has defended the direct procurement of 2 firefighting vehicles worth almost 40 million Namibian dollars. The vehicles were acquired for Isaiah Kotako International Airport near Windhoek and Walvis Bay International Airport and cost around 19 million Namibian dollars each. According to NAC, operational requirements and the standardization of the airport firefighting fleet were decisive. NAC CEO Busy Uirab said the company had opted for Rosenbauer Panther firefighting vehicles after repeatedly experiencing reliability problems with other manufacturers. He added that right-hand drive models were available only in limited numbers worldwide. Internal documents, however, raised questions about whether the direct procurement was sufficiently justified and should have been subjected to closer scrutiny. NAC is subject to a procurement threshold of 25 million Namibian dollars for goods. The Procurement Policy Unit in the Finance Ministry said it had no record of an application from NAC regarding the firefighting vehicles or related exemption. NAC maintains that the purchase reflected availability and safety requirements and was not split to bypass the procurement rules. Now, public office bearers and parliamentarians should first interrogate their own contribution to tackling youth unemployment before pointing fingers elsewhere, Student Union of Namibia Board Chairperson Bernard Kavau said in Windhoek today. Speaking during a press conference convened by youth organizations and political formations, Kavau criticized leaders who repeatedly occupy positions despite failing to deliver results, saying they should go home rather than seek another chance. He made the remarks while announcing SUN's endorsement of Esther Simon for the position of National Youth Council Chairperson, describing her as a capable and articulate candidate with strong policies for Namibia's youth. Let's take a look.
Yeah, before we talk, we must look at ourselves also. We are talking about youth unemployment, but we're parliament members in parliament, year in and year out. What are they doing before they point fingers? They must interrogate themselves first. Esther, you see, for us we are pragmatic as a progressive union. Tomorrow she will be at evening review. She will talk there. She's very articulative. Her best policies. So if we start reading what is in that laptop, we will stay here the whole day. But we don't want to speak on her behalf. So she'll speak tomorrow evening as she goes and to win. So this is just us endorsing, and we even said don't come because people will think you called me, Kavau, to support you. If Esther would sit next to me now, they would say it's Esther's agenda. I was never called by Esther. It's myself who took it upon myself to say, I think when you vet the two candidates, the youth are safe in this hand, then the other hand. So she will be there. Yeah, so overlapping of duties, I think let's not judge a book before opening its inside neck. Let's not judge a book by its cover. So like I've said, there are people who are even acting there in the boat, they failed, now they want to go and try again. This is the same thing we are complaining. They failed, they must go home.
Acacia Composites manufacturers hosted a delegation from the Ministry of International Relations and Trade on Tuesday, offering a tour of its Windhoek production facility and underlining the company's plans to scale exports and meet rising regional demand. Acting Executive Director Asar Nashikaku led the ministry team through Acacia Composites factory, where Business Development Manager Eka Bohm outlined the firm's production process, product range and export readiness. The visit formed part of a wider MIRT effort to identify and promote Namibian manufacturers for upcoming regional trade missions. Acacia Composites uses a mono-extrusion process to produce composite building materials intended as an alternative to imports. Its portfolio showcased to the delegation included double-sided decking boards in African-inspired tones, thermal cell, tongue and groove wall cladding for heat and noise insulation, shadow louvres and pergola systems for solar screening, and shiplap cladding currently specified for a major development in Walvis Bay. Company officials said products are made from a mix of locally sourced wood fiber, high-density polyethylene, and performance additives such as UV stabilizers. The firm emphasized traceability and sustainable sourcing, saying partnerships with farming communities that clear encroach bush help restore land and increase grazing capacity. Bohm said Acacia Composites has been selected to feature signature products in an upcoming regional trade mission, part of the ministry's strategy to connect local manufacturers with international investors and buyers. The company also signaled plans to expand production capacity, including upgrades to enable 24-hour operations and increased extrusion output to serve both domestic and export markets. Officials acknowledged global supply chain pressures, notably HDPE availability and pricing, and said they were mitigating risks through agile production planning and diversified sourcing. That brings us to the end of our top stories. Stick around after the break. We bring you our Community Talk segment.
From the heart of the continent to its farthest horizons, Africa awakens with stories that shape our world. This is Africa Good Morning, your window into the pulse of a dynamic continent. I'm Ashwin Berry, here to deliver the latest news, sharp insights, and the vibrant spirit of Africa. Every weekday, we dive into the headlines, uncover untold stories, and spotlight the people driving change. Plus, stay ahead with daily weather forecasts and economic updates to navigate your week with confidence. With direct coverage from our correspondents on the ground, we bring you in-depth access to Africa's beating heart. Mondays, Mike Situla reports from Zambia.
Africa Good Morning.
Tuesdays, Talent Gore covers Zimbabwe. Wednesdays, Rorisang Mohojwe brings Botswana's news. Dumela, Rorisang.
Thank you very much, Ashwin, for having me right here on Africa Good Morning. It is always a pleasure to be here with you all.
Thursdays, Ari Hogarth tackles South Africa.
Yes, very good morning, Ashwin and Aina. Yes, a good atmosphere.
And Fridays, we focus on Namibia's bold narratives. From thriving cities to rugged plains, our team is there, capturing the rhythm of a continent on the rise. Africa Good Morning is your essential start. News, weather, economics, and more.
Tonight in our Community Talk segment, the Ministry of Works and Transport has officially launched the Natus on Wheels truck in Omashete. The mobile registering authority is intended to bring transport and vehicle services closer to residents in the Dauras constituency and surrounding areas. Residents of Omashete, Okumbahe, Uis, and other settlements are expected to benefit from the service. Many have until now had to travel long distances to access NATIS services, including vehicle registration, license renewals, and other transport-related transactions. Daura's constituency councillor Inesia Brandt described the launch as an important step for rural communities. She said the mobile service would save travelling costs, shorten distances, and improve access to government services. Works and Transport Minister Veiko Nekundi said the truck showed government's intention to bring services closer to the people. The unit offers, among other services, vision testing, biometric capturing, computerized learner license testing, and the issuing of vehicle licenses. According to Nekundi, the truck complements the mobile roadworthiness testing station introduced in 2024. Together, the two units could function like a complete registering authority on wheels. The truck cost 4.2 million Namibian dollars according to the ministry and was fully funded by the government. Additional trucks are expected to be procured in future to serve more places at the same time and help ease pressure on busy NATIS centres. After Omashete, the truck is expected to visit Okombahe, Fransfontein, Kamanjab, and other villages and settlements in the region. Stay with Sunset News because after the break, the latest in economic news is coming right up.
Namibia is a land of movement, with waves that never stop reaching forward. Here, adventure is not something we search for. It is something we are born into. In every corner of this country, creativity rises, from artists, from athletes, from dreamers. And when the world comes to explore Namibia, they discover something extraordinary. Because when sport moves people, creativity moves ideas, and tourism moves the world toward us. Something powerful happens. A platform where movement meets imagination, where industries connect, where opportunity grows, where Namibia's next chapter begins. Welcome to the Creative Sport Tourism Expo. Exhibit, partner, experience. Creative Sport Tourism.
Headlining our economic news, FNB Namibia has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening collaboration between the financial sector and policymakers following a strategic engagement with the Governor of the Bank of Namibia, Ibsen Wanguta, alongside senior First Rand Group executives. At a time when Namibia's growth trajectory is shaped by structural reform and emerging sector opportunity, the engagement underscored the importance of coordinated action to unlock sustainable, broad-based economic progress. Discussions centered on the country's outlook with focus on evidence-based policymaking, economic diversification, and translating opportunity into meaningful participation across the economy. The role of the financial sector in enabling high-growth industries, including oil and gas, was also highlighted as a driver of long-term resilience. Conrad Dempsey, Chief Executive Officer of FNB Namibia, noted that Namibia's economic future will depend not only on the opportunities ahead, but on how effectively those opportunities are enabled. He emphasized that inclusive growth is designed through deliberate collaboration between the public and private sectors. At FNB Namibia, our role extends beyond financing growth to enabling it across the economy, Dempsey was quoted as saying. The engagement also reinforced the importance of maintaining a financial system that is stable, accessible, innovative, and aligned with national development priorities. Through continued collaboration with policymakers and industry stakeholders, FNB Namibia aims to support enterprise development, deepen local participation, and contribute to a more competitive and resilient economy. Byron Longwe, Chief Executive Officer responsible for FirstRand's broader Africa operations, highlighted the importance of regional connectivity in shaping Africa's economic future, noting that strategically positioned economies such as Namibia have a critical role to play. Namibia is well positioned not only as a growing economy, but as an important link to regional and continental opportunity. Its stability, infrastructure, and strategic location create a strong platform to connect local businesses to broader African markets, Longwe said. He added that financial institutions have a critical role to play in supporting growth and accelerating it. In the next of our stories, the ONL Group is looking across the Orange River for expansion as it strives to hit an operating profit in excess of 2.5 billion Namibian dollars, its executive chairman Sven Tima said, signaling the company's intention to grow beyond Namibia. To help drive this growth, the group was setting its sights on expanding the footprint of its hot leaf offering in the Western Cape, South Africa, where it has found traction with consumers, as well as model formerly Pick n Pay Namibia, Tima said. The company had also begun importing raw materials for use in its production process through its subsidiary Hangana Seafood, while the establishment of a sales office in the European Union was also seen as key to driving growth toward the operating profit target. Tima said so at a stakeholder event held this week. By the end of this July, we will almost have doubled the capacity of hot leaf to be able to focus on being able to do export, but export for Namibia for any company is the only way, he added. Further driving OL toward its target was the importation of fishing products through Hangana, to which it was able to add value and generate increased revenue, Tima said. We've started to actually import raw material from other countries, from the United Kingdom or the United States or South America, and we thaw the product during the thawing process, and then we form a product so that it is less dependent on the local fish resources or biomass. Also underpinning OL's push toward its target was the launch of Hangana Seafood brand in Argentina. We're very proud that we've launched our brand into Argentina, which is very exciting, he said of efforts to expand OL's bottom line. The Namibian market, Tima said, had its limitations for a company targeting expansion. To help drive revenue gains, OL was also in the process of setting up its EU office to gain better returns, Tima said. And now let's take a look at the economic indicators. The Namibian dollar trades at 21.74 to the British pound, 18.79 against the euro, 16.21 to the US dollar, and 2 Namibian dollars and 40 cents buys you 1 Chinese yuan. All commodities are up, save for Brent crude oil, which took a dip of 4.15%, now trading at $81 and 23 cents per barrel. Tonight in international news, Kenya will pay $2,000 in compensation. Will pay compensation to almost 2,000 victims of protest-related human rights abuses, President William Ruto said on Monday, marking a rare national reparations process outside the judicial system. Violent protests in the East African nation have left a trail of destruction in which hundreds of people have died, were injured, or suffered business losses. In the most recent incident, 2 demonstrations over an Ebola quarantine center for Americans left 3 people dead and dozens of others injured. The victims of human rights abuses will begin receiving compensation from next week after vetting by the state-funded Human Rights Commission. The total payout is expected to total $15 million. Ruto, speaking during the release of a National Reparations Framework report, said the compensation represents a state acknowledgement that harm occurred and was not an admission of guilt. Dozens of people died and hundreds of others were injured in annual anti-government protests against increased taxes in June 2024 and June 2025. Property worth millions of dollars was destroyed in a series of protests that the government said were infiltrated by criminals. Ruto said the compensation was not the price of life, of pain, or of loss, and that should not be seen as a reward for violence or criminality in a country where violent protests are common. And that brings us to the end of our international news segment. Now let's take a look at the weather predictions. Over in the coast, it's bright, clear skies. Maximum temperatures of 15 degrees Celsius are expected in Walvis Bay and minimum temperatures of 10 degrees Celsius. It's partly cloudy in Ariamsvlei, although maximum temperatures will be at 24 degrees Celsius and the lowest will be at 13 degrees Celsius. Here in Windhoek, the lowest it will go will be 3 degrees Celsius and the highest temperatures are expected to be at 14 degrees Celsius, together with clear sunny skies. Looking over in Rundu, it's partly cloudy conditions as well, with minimum temperatures of 11 degrees Celsius and maximum temperatures of 30 degrees Celsius. Tonight in sports news, AC Boxing Promotions founder and promoter Emmanuel Ims Moses has revealed that Namibian boxer Flame Special One Nangolo has already begun rebuilding his career following the most difficult setback of his professional boxing journey. Nangolo suffered the first defeat of his career last month when he was knocked out by compatriot Martin Mukungu, a result that also saw him surrender his WBO Africa Super Featherweight title and unbeaten record. Despite the disappointment, Moses confirmed to Sport Rap yesterday that the boxer is in good spirits and has already taken the first steps towards a comeback. Moses explained that Nangolo is currently observing the mandatory medical suspension period required after such a bout and is using the time to rest, recover and reflect before resuming full training. As for a return to the ring, the promoter stressed that the team will not rush the process. In some more sports news, the northwestern town of Osho is set to receive a new sports and playground facility courtesy of the Frank Fredericks Foundation, which has revealed plans for the project. While no exact construction date has been confirmed, land has already been made available after Osho Mayor Bartholomeus Ibib and the foundation met in May. The foundation said construction will commence as soon as possible. The facility will feature a 5-a-side football pitch, netball court, and a variety of playground equipment, including swings, slides, a merry-go-round, and a seesaw, said the foundation. The project is designed not only to provide a safe recreational space for children, but also to encourage an active lifestyle and participation in sports for the community, it said. Through the project, Fredericks hopes to give back to a community that has shown him meaningful recognition while creating a lasting legacy for future generations. Fredericks is a former Namibian track and field sprinter who specialized in the 100 and 200 meters. He won 4 Olympic silver medals, finishing second in both events at the 1992 Olympics in Barcelona, Spain, and the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta, United States. He also won the 200-meter world title in Germany in 1993 and the 200-meter world indoor title in Japan in 1999. And now here's Ari Hogard with some more sports news.
Good day, everyone. Time for international sports news. And starting off with soccer news first, it is the Soccer World Cup that started in America and in Mexico and in Canada. It's also a good start for one of the co-hosts, that is United States, that beat Paraguay in the first game, and that was convincing by 4-1. And also mixed results for the South African, or the African teams rather. It was over the weekend Morocco that had a good result, a 1-1 draw against Brazil, and also a very good start for the Ivory Coast. That was in Group E. They beat Ecuador by 1-0. Difficult start for Tunisia. They lost 5-1 against Sweden. That was in Group F. And Bafana, South Africa, that also lost their first game against Mexico. They will play again on Thursday. That will be against Chechnya. That game will be played in Atlanta. In cricket news, it is the Women's T20 World Cup that also started. That's been played in England and Wales, and a good start for Australia, beating South Africa by 65 runs in their first group game. And it is South Africa that will next play against Pakistan. It was Pakistan that had a difficult game against India, and India that won that game by 64 runs. Also a good result for the West Indies. They chased a big total of 163 to win, and they beat New Zealand by 7 wickets in their first game of the tournament. On to golf news. Next, it is a part of the PGA Tour. It is the Canadian Open, and the winner there was Bud Cauley of the United States. He finished with 5 under par round for a 4-round total of 17 under par. His first win ever on the PGA Tour. And the second place, Matt Fitzpatrick on 15 under, and Victor Hovland on 14 under in third position. Then also it was the Comrades Marathon, the uprun that was concluded over the weekend on Sunday. It was 2 South Africans that won, and it was in the men's division. It was George Kusher. He is from Pretoria, and he won in a record uptime of 5 hours, 16 minutes and 6 seconds. And then in the women's side of the marathon, it was Gerda Steyn that won. It was the 5th title that she won, and it is also an up record for Gerda Steyn, 5 hours, 44 minutes and 53 seconds to win the Comrades Marathon 2026. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we'll talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
And with that, we've come to the end of the broadcast. I am Diana Master, and this has been Sunset News. Don't end your day without us.